some of you may know, I started out completely opposing this. And I want to talk to you about why I opposed it and why I don't oppose it. Longer. The first thing is we were given some documents and told that it was no doubt a violation of our tribal sovereignty to have a tribal member use the tribe to make money on. And I sort of believed that, and I listened to it, and then I did a weird thing. I started riding the bus to work. And while I rode the bus to work, I found out something interesting. See, I was one of those people that thought getting folks to work, that's going to be the problem. That's going to be the big problem. It'll cancel itself out. They just won't be able to get people to work. So I was talking to my bus driver, and my bus driver told me people were there early to get on the bus. And because they were there early, they were able to get their training done. They were able to get their work started on time. And all of this stuff, this has been going on. But the thing that really got to me was the fact that there was more than 100 tribal members who are employees. And then, of course, those tribal members and their families, they're tribal members too. And they're looking for a way to make a living. So I went over and I got myself acquainted. And I guess the thing that really grabbed me was over at the various places where these folks work. There's posters on the wall. The posters don't say, "I hate this job, it really stinks." Instead, they say, "It's really good to have a job. I'm glad I can do stuff for my daughter. I'm glad I can do stuff for my family." It says good stuff like that. And so my question is, in 1975, in January of 75, the United States Congress passed the Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act, Public Law 93-638, better known to most of us as 638 contracting. And the whole function of 638 contracting, President Nixon and Congress said, was to give tribes and their political subdivisions the opportunity to take part not only in performing the 638 contracts, but more importantly, they took a role in planning and developing the contracts. I just have this to say. Since 1975, well, we should really say 76, since it took a year's worth of litigation in order to get the United States to move on Public Law 93-638. But nevertheless, in that 27 years, we've had federal dollar after federal dollar after federal dollar come into the reservation. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that they don't owe us. What I am saying is that in that 27 years since the Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act, not one single job, not one single full-time permanent job has been created on this reservation without federal money that I'm aware of. What I am aware of is being over here and hearing these folks say, "I want to work. I really want to work." I've been gone most of the summer, been in the hospital, to tell you the truth. and came back end of August, and I was asked to take a look at this stuff, just to read it. So I read the stuff, and I have to tell you, there's a pretty good argument, I think, because New York's 7 states away. What connection does New York have to us? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know. But 7 states away, they seem to think that they can do what South Dakota cannot do. They seem to think that they can do civil regulation on the Cheyenne River Reservation. And I want to say, respectfully, the 3 things that we want. We want, 1, a resolution that says the tribe opposes other states trying to come in here and do civil regulation. They have no authority. The Congress never gave it to them. This is not a Public Law 280 state, notwithstanding the fact that they tried to change the law in the Rosebud Highway case. In addition to that, we asked for, when we were ready to request it, amicus briefs. That is, briefs that are friend of the court, just to say, hey, the tribe supports what these folks want to do. They support them having jobs. And the third, which escapes my mind at the moment. At any rate, and of course the third is directed at poverty and jurisdiction. Everybody knows, if you walk around the streets around here, there's a lot of folks that could use jobs. There's a lot of folks that could use the exercise of tribal sovereignty in this case. And what I mean by that is, we could use some folks to stand up and say, you know, we might not like what Mr. Webb's doing. We might not like the amount of interest he charges and this and that. But by golly, he's sure putting our people to work. And he has put our people to work. We have an economic study that was done, and if you take 118 by about 3, I think that's the number, it's about 350 or so families that are directly impacted by these jobs. I think that's an important thing. I think it's important because when people get work, when they get jobs, they get filled with self-esteem. And these folks, they have self-esteem. Not only do they have it, their families have it. And I respectfully urge you to grant the relief that's requested these folks, that is, enact the 3 resolutions. And about the amicus briefs, we would certainly make all the materials available to assist. We're not saying, hey, do all this legal work for us. We would do the work to assist in the event that the tribe would file friend of the court briefs, which is amicus curiae. And we would also make statements available, factual statements available, so that when people went to D.C. or wherever they went, they would have a package of facts. And so we wouldn't ask the tribe to do it all for us. We would ask the tribe instead to give support, so these 118 people could work and could go on with their lives. And I want to tell you, not having had a steady job from January until the end of August, I could tell you that it's not always hard, or it's not always easy, to find steady work here on the reservation. And some people will say, aha, that's why he's doing it. He wants steady work. Well, I want steady work, but I also want to protect my tribe. And when tribal sovereignty is attacked, I personally believe that we have no other course than to defend tribal sovereignty and to defend the treaty. Because in this particular case, not one single state is a public law 280 state. That is a state that's going after the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. That's going after Butch Webb. They can go after Butch Webb all they want. Whatever happens with Butch Webb, it's not going to affect the tribe. The problem is, if Butch Webb is out there by himself, that's when there might be a problem, not only for Butch, but for the tribe itself. The main thing is, the tribe wants to, in the future, do business civilly on and off the reservation. To the extent that it wants to do business off the reservation, are people saying that we must have a Title 17 corporation, a Section 17 corporation, to do that business? I hope not, because I believe that when the 8th Circuit did Buster v. Wright, and I can't remember if it's 1903 or 1905, but when Buster versus Wright was enacted by the court, they said, heck yes, tribes have the right to regulate business. Heck yes, they do. Of course, more recently, the Supreme Court reversed itself in Plains Commerce Bank. Were they right in 1903 or are they right now? Well, I like to think that they were right in way back when, in 1903 or 1905. I would like to think they're wrong now. And I would like to believe that when we get to the upper federal courts, that we have a good chance. See, there was this case at Rosebud on the Crazy Horse Malt Liquor case called State of Crazy Horse versus Hormel Liquor. Those folks, they said, oh, we don't have any connection to the reservation. They were using a family name that was very well known. Their Crazy Horse Malt Liquor was coming into the reservation somehow. And the fact of the matter was, Frank Palmersheim wrote a great opinion, went to the 8th Circuit, the 8th opinion upheld it, and then went to the Supreme Court, and it was lost. Well, in my opinion, at this point, your choice is support your tribal members, or in the future, face the consequences when you try to do business off the reservation. I don't want there to be any consequences when we do business off the reservation. I think it's our God-given right to do business on or off the reservation. Now, it is absolutely true that it says in Article 1 of our tribal constitution what the area is of our territorial jurisdiction. It says it. It says it's all lands set aside by the act of February 2nd, 1889. Any lands that are added thereto, and any lands that the tribe is able to buy and consolidate under it was then the 1964 Indian Land Consolidation Act. So the folks asked me to come on over and say what I thought. And what I think is this. I think that these folks deserve your support. I think they deserve the opportunity to work. And I hope that you'll give strong consideration to the language that you have heard here today. Thank you for listening.